This is a video from the ground, that brings together the perspectives, of the different levels of government closest to the ground, the autonomous regional government, the province and the city of Marawi. Lanao del Sur lies geographically, at the center of Mindanao. It is equidistant to all major cities of Mindanao such as, Davao to the east, Gensan, Maguindanao, and Cotabato to the south, Zamboanga City to the west, and Cagayan de Oro, and Butuan to the north. Whatever happens in Lanao, will definitely affect the whole of Mindanao. What you need to know, and needs emphasis is, Marawi crisis did not start on May 23, 2017, and it did not start at Marawi. It started in Butig, south of the Lake Lanao on February 20, 2016. Butig conflict, February and November 2016, population, 19,302, barangays, 16, area, 331.49 square kilometers. Clashes between the Philippine military, and a local terrorist organization, known as the Maudi Group, which is believed to have ties with ISIS, started on February 20, 2016, after the Maudi Group raided the detachment of the 51st Infantry Battalion of the Philippine Army in the town. 2,000 displaced civilians, 45 casualties, 42 from Maudi Group, and 3 from AFP. Islamic State of Iraq and Syria paraphernalia were discovered at the group's lair, after government forces overran the group's camp on February 26, 2016. Piagapo clashes, April 21 to April 24, 2017. Population, 25,440, barangays, 37, area, 340.07 square kilometers. The military offensive began, at midnight on April 21, 2017, at the terrorists' main camp, at Sitio Pagalongan, Barangay Gacup, Piagapo, Lanao del Sur, Philippines. Fatalities, 36 suspected members of Maudi Group, which includes Abu Imam Bantayao, alleged Deputy Commander Mayel, also, 1 Malaysian and 3 Indonesians were killed. The result, 1,828 individuals or about 416 families were displaced. On 23 May, a firefight broke out between Philippine government forces and armed non-state actors in Marawi City, a city of 200,000 in the autonomous region in Muslim Mindanao, in the southern Philippines. The Battle of Marawi quickly spread throughout the city, with militants taking over large areas, including government buildings. Later that evening, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte announced that he was placing the entire island of Mindanao under martial law, and suspending the writ of habeas corpus. The conflict lasted for 5 months, and resulted in the mass displacement of civilians, the widespread destruction of civilian infrastructure, and the loss of civilian lives. The armed non-state actors, the militants, were comprised of members of 5 or 6 different insurgent groups, several of which had recently sworn allegiance to, and reportedly received support from, the armed group calling itself Islamic State. These included the Maudi Group, led by the Maudi brothers, Omar and Abdullah, and the Abu Sayyaf Group, led by Asnilan Haplan. Shortly before the government declared the end of fighting in October, the military announced that Omar Maudi and Asnilan Haplan were killed. Abdullah was reported killed in August, but according to media reports no body was found. Within a month, the conflict displaced 360,000 people, including all of the city's residents along with many from neighboring municipalities. The majority of these internally displaced persons have taken shelter with family and friends. Approximately 10% have sought refuge at 75 evacuation centers in Lanao del Sur, Lanao del Norte, and Misamis Oriental provinces of Mindanao. On 17 October, the government announced that Marawi City had been liberated, and on 23 October, the government declared an end to the fighting. According to official government statistics, at least 920 militants, 165 soldiers, and 47 civilians were killed during the battle, and 1,780 hostages were rescued. Research by Amnesty International, and by other human rights organizations and journalists, indicates that the total number of civilians killed, by militants and by government airstrikes, is likely significantly higher than the official count. Estimates of damage and loss to public and private property were done for the infrastructure, productive, and social sectors, and for the cross-cutting concerns on governance and environment. Damages were estimated at $216 million and losses at $132 million, with most of these impacts incurred in the 24 barangays comprising the most affected areas where the gunfight was heaviest. Marawi City is the economic and political capital of the province of Lanao del Sur and is one of the biggest urban areas in the entire region. As such, many commercial and institutional facilities can be found in the city, particularly in the most affected areas, which includes the central business district. As such, there was a heavy concentration of economic, cultural, and public administration assets in these barangays. The Grand Mosque of the Maranaos and the Grand Padian, or market, were among those that were damaged during the battle in the most affected areas. While the rehabilitation is still ongoing, threats had been hovering inside the Mindanao State University, the flagship and the largest campus of the Mindanao State University system, for several months. Rumors saying that the next target was the university caused sleepless nights to the students and residents. Aside from Mindanao State University, there are unverified threats soaring in other neighboring municipalities such as Maranchao, Watu and other areas in Lanao del Sur. The armed group calling itself Islamic State is still a threat even after the Philippine military's longest and bloodiest battle since World War II. Islamic State militant in Mindanao is an ongoing malady. The possibility of a new war is highly feasible. Their leaders may be killed during the war, but their ideology and agenda are still alive. It is run by people with agendas, and agendas changes over time.